All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, Shipping Nation YouTube station? Got my guy, Bong Rip, Safety Meat, and Gyiraszin, golfer, bowler, gambler, junkie. We're ready to break down this. As it stands right now, 9-game slate. Not sure if it's going to hold up 9-game slate. We saw yesterday the Cubs and the Mets get postponed, which I didn't see coming. That's why I'm not a meteorologist. That's why I'm the donkey here talking baseball and trying to make sense of make sense of everything, right? But the Dodgers and the Twins does look like the lone weather spot to pay attention to. I know some people in our Discord were talking about the Rockies and that Coors Field game having tornado warnings and stuff around there. As it stands, it doesn't look to be an issue right now, but we do have to monitor that. The biggest spot, like I said, is the Twins and the Dodgers. And hey, our guy Joe Ryan scratched and said, hey, I don't want to mess with the Dodgers and this weather, so I'm just going to sit this one out and say, here you go. Throw it to the bullpen and let these guys fight through it against the best offense in baseball. We'll do our best to break it all down. We got massive contest over on DraftKings, the big mega with $200K up top. Hopefully I see that in my DraftKings account when I wake up, because God knows I don't stay up for the end of these games. I got to get up and golf in the morning, Gyiraszin. You just talked about some golf coming in. The little dusting your partner off in a little friendly competition at League last night. So I'll bring you in, man. Happy Tuesday. What's going on, brother?
Man, it's always fun getting on here talking some baseball. And, you know, I get easily entertained and distracted, and your cat over there must have some kind of something in your chair, because he's been like digging in your chair and stuff there. But yeah, I mean, he's got him something over there, a little mouse or a fly or something. I mean, mine, if a fly comes in my house, Nades, it don't stand a damn chance. We get like the stopwatch out, like, see if this dude will make it longer than 30 seconds, because that cat jumped like 8 feet in the air and snagged that shit. But either way, but yeah, always fun getting into baseball. Like, man, like pitching tonight, literally you're gonna have to get the whiskey bottle out for literally every one of these dudes tonight. Like, well, holy shit, man. I was looking at it like, okay, yeah, oh no, that's not good. Oh man, like they're like half the teams have team totals over 4.5. Like, it's I mean, it's usually you don't see that. Like, it's, you know, that means almost every game should be over a total of 9 today out of 9 games. Like, that just normally don't happen. But yeah, I mean, lots of offense we're gonna be able to talk about. I mean, Nades, I truly think pitching today is just avoid the landmine. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can get like 18 to 20 points out of any dude, just be happy as shit, because I don't think you're going to get beat by pitching today. You may lose because of pitching today if they suck, because there's a handful of guys that we're definitely not going to want to play. But, I mean, interesting kind of slate. But, hey, it's fun. We got a lot of offense we can talk about. We all like some offense. I mean, we got a Coors Field game with the Boston. Like, maybe we want to fade the Red Sox. I mean, they haven't hit for shit. I mean, when we get to the Brewers, maybe I'll like the Brewers, Nades. You never know. I might. You never know. We'll get that far. But yeah, good times. We got coming in a 4th of July week, coming in hot. It's gonna be like 100 damn degrees here in Michigan. So ain't nothing better. You can sit in the house. We got some World Cup going on. We got some baseball going on. I could sit in the air conditioning and have me a little safety meeting. I got to go outside for that. The wife will shoot me. But, still, like, get me a lucky one, hang out, watch some ball. Good times. Other than that, Nate's the county fairs up there. I'll see Hoop up there this week up at the beer tent with him and his family. We'll have some beers, hang out, and, eat some carny food and get fatter. I mean, why not? I mean, Hoop ain't fat, but I'm fat. But either way, good times, Nades. Good times. Let's win us some loot tonight.
Yeah, let's win us some loot ski here tonight. And yeah, synopsis of the slate is close your eyes and pick 2 pitchers because DraftKings makes you, and hopefully you don't get the guys that score 7 DraftKings points like a lot of the pitchers last night. Outside of Brady Singer, Brandon Woodruff, some of those guys in that late game. Dylan Cease wasn't there. Hunter Brown wasn't there. Speaking of 7 points, he got a nice 7 points at 11K. That was nice to see in your lineup if you played some low-owned Hunter Brown. But, yeah, we'll do our best to talk through it. We got K9 Bronco in here, Michael W., Warren Tyler, Gang Green, our guy Sean Sullivan catching the show before he takes the mound in Coors Field there. So good luck to him. Michael W. says farewell to Giannis. Yeah, I don't care about the NBA. So even being a homer there, people can say what they want. I don't really care. I don't watch the NBA anyways. I'd rather enjoy my life there. And Ricky Rose. And yeah, my cat showing his skills back there. He's a wild one, what they say. Those orange tabby cats go crazy. And finally he gets freedom. My girlfriend's 2 cats that she brought when she moved in with me have their claws. He doesn't have his claws because of the apartment complex. And let's just say the old mama kitty doesn't get along with him and tries to run the house. So he plays hot lava on the floor until he comes into dad's office when the door is closed, and then he goes crazy. So yeah, poor guy over here always gets stalked by both of her cats, tries to get his lunch. But hey, guess what, Gyiraszin, they say when you're old and slow, the young and quick ones get their way, and he still gets revenge because he's faster than both of those suckers, even though he has claws to defend himself. And they try and come after him. He shoots up. He can launch from the floor up to the top of the fridge, damn near. So those guys are.
It is crazy when they fight. They're like those fucking what was that movie, the Neo? Like when they were doing all the crazy flips and I forgot the name of it now, but dude, that's what they fight like, man. They'll get each other. Like my 2 do the same damn thing. One's old and one's young, and it's actually kind of entertaining when you're high. You just kind of laugh.
Every night, I laugh my ass off when the gummy hits in.
Matrix. That's it.
The cats are going crazy. But let's go ahead and jump in here. I'm going to go ahead and add our Slate station up on the screen here. Gyiraszin, flip it over. We're going to talk this pitching slate, even though we don't want to. Let's hit the 8K and above tier because I do think at least 2 of the arms that people want to play come from up here, and I think they're both fairly solid arms. You got Parker Messick all the way up at the top at 9.3, down to Edward Cabrera at 8K flat. Shane Baz, Parker Messick headline this trio or this kind of top tier, if you will. Messick being the most expensive guys. He's been solid. There is some red flags, as there is with pretty much everyone on the slate here, Gyiraszin. Some of his underlying metrics there, and yeah, the matchup's great, but I mean, 9.3, he's not bulletproof by any means. He's going to be owned as such. Projections-wise, he's the SP1. Ownership, like I said, between him, Baz, and then 2 guys we're going to get down, it's really a 4-headed race that everybody wants to play, and then it's sprinkles of kind of everyone else. So talk to me. Really hit on Shane Baz and Parker Messick. You got Robleski at 8,800. Has been up and down for the most part. Is in the lone weather game there, so that likely going to take more people off of him and filter that to either Parker Messick or down to Shane Baz if that game does get waxed. And either way, people weren't really clicking that name with the weather concerns. And just from a projection standpoint, I mean, he's $500 less projected for almost 4 points lower than Parker Messick. And that's what drives ownership, as I talk about all the time in this game that we play. Sonny Gray doesn't really stand out to me. Edward Cabrera, don't love him, but fairly solid place to pitch there. I think the guy that's kind of sneaky up here in this tier would be an Erod at 8,500 against the Cardinals. I know the Cardinals are red hot, but if you're looking to get kind of contrarian in this top tier, a guy who can go long into games and could be okay, I wouldn't mind taking a shot. I'd rather take a shot on Erod in that matchup versus Sonny Gray in Coors Field. But talk to me up here. Who do you see in this top tier?
Yeah, man, it gets ugly. I mean, you got Parker Messick sitting up there all the way. He's at 9,300 on DK. I mean, you sit and look. Like you said, a couple red flags. I mean, he's pitching for the Indians. The Indians pretty much have the lowest team total offensively all night, so I'm kind of concerned about him even maybe looking at a possible win. the White Sox do hit lefties fairly well. I mean, they're not bad. So that's another concern. They do strike out, though. They do have some strikeouts in that lineup. I think they strike out in the top 10 against lefties in baseball. But, Messick 27% to the right side. He's down to 23% to the left side. So there's definitely some strikeouts to be had. But, I mean, you just go back and look at some of his game logs here. Basically, since the end of May till now, I mean, he's only had one decent start. Nades, I mean, his last start was decent, but other than that, he hasn't really looked good. So, man, it's hard for me to pay up for a guy that, the White Sox just hasn't seemed like it's been a very good endeavor for us to be playing pitchers against the White Sox so far this year. So, one, that kind of worries me, as I'm worried he's not going to have any offensive support. He's going to have to be perfect for them to win tonight. So, I mean, that's what you're going to have to look at. So I'm a little worried about Messick. I'd leave him in my pool because it's not that good tonight, but I'm a little concerned. I mean, moving down, Roblisky, it sounds like we're going to have to worry about some weather out that way. So I don't even really have him in my pool at all. Sonny Gray now, I mean, you're sitting there looking at a guy moving out in the Coors Field. Do we want to pick on the Rockies, who've actually been hitting here pretty well here recent times? Sonny Gray's strikeouts haven't been up. He's at 18% to the right side. He's at 20% to the left side. This guy just, I don't know. On FanDuel, I don't like him because I just don't feel like he's really going to give me a quality start out there in Coors here. So Sonny Gray for me is that one, I don't like it. I think I'd like it more on DK. I don't really care for it on FanDuel. And then Erod, Erod's interesting. Erod for me is hard click for me sometimes. I mean, it's just, he's either really bad and he's good every once in a while. It seems like he's bad more often than he's good. I mean, he's been walking more righties here this year. He's at 11% walk rate. His strikeout percentage, 17% to the right side, 20% to the left side. The Cardinals don't strike out all that much. So I'm a little bit concerned with this matchup. Erod's been getting barreled up by lefties so far this year. But, I think with the pitching pool being as thin as it is, I think Erod for me is kind of more of a pivot off of what I think Messick will probably get some love here. I think Shane Baz is another guy that's going to get some love as we look. I mean, Baz, you got an Oriole team who, obviously, an Angel team. He's on the Orioles. Wake up. But either way, I mean, you look at these strikeout percentages. He's got 18% strikeout to the right side. He's at 21% to the left side. I think he can get to these Angels. I mean, he hasn't been getting hit hard really by any of these lefties. So, I mean, I think he can keep up with it. I think he can do well. I think he can hang in there. I think Baz is going to be a guy that probably may garner some ownership today. So I think he's interesting. Cabrera, it just seems like he's been hurt, but damn, we love the matchup against the Mets. I mean, Mets just haven't been really good. But, man, in my mind, I just keep thinking Edwin's hurt. I mean, he had a 17-point game 2 starts ago. Everything else has been freaking 5 points out of his last 4 or 5 starts. Other than that, I got no interest in somebody like that. I mean, if somebody else wants to click that, by all means, go damn head. But, I mean, it's thin pickings up here. There's nothing that really you say, oh, yeah, that looks good. Oh, man, I really like that matchup, or I like this. I mean, when we're trying to dig through guys like Shane Baz and Messick up here, I think are the two that I would play the strongest. And like I said, I think Erod would be a decent pivot to leave in the pool. But I'm still thinking, I mean, maybe we could even find some guys that are cheaper because I don't like any of these pitchers, to be honest with you.
Yeah, definitely there's some value guys you can play. Up in the top tier, it's hard. Messick, there's red flags, but there's red flags for everyone. Messick probably arguably has the highest ceiling, or at least one of them, between him, Baz, Ray, and Burke. I would say are kind of the 4 main guys you're looking at from a pitcher pool. We'll talk about the value guys. So Messick and Boz. I do have Boz just with a discount as my SP1 in this top tier. Erod would be the third guy, and if you wanted to mess with the weather there, I think Justin Robleski, I have more interest than you do. I think I like the strikeout matchup there. His props are good, 4.5K prop. There is some weather concerns there, which does concern me, and the price point is. So I probably don't think you need to really take the risk on the slate. And if that's the case, you could always play a guy like Sonny Gray. But I don't like Sonny Gray strikeouts. The Rockies haven't struck out either. So yeah, it's really Messick, Erod, Shane Baz up in this top tier. And I'm not really messing with the Edward Cabrera. I don't think he's right. Personally, myself, I get the matchup there, but you look at the Mets. I mean, you could see a spike here from Erod, but I don't think he's right to me. Like you talked about, he does strike out a lot of righties. The issue is he's going to see majority of the lefties and only get 3 righties in this lineup here for the Mets. Alvarez, Semien, and Bo Bichette. Bichette doesn't strike out. Semien has strikeouts in Alvarez, but the rest, even the lefties, I mean, he's got a 16% K rate against the left side, gives up power, barrels. So I think it's a tough spot here for Erod. So for me, yeah, it's those 3 guys, Messick, Baz, and then the pivot would be Erod for me. Down low, Robbie Ray and Sean Burke stand out. You're going to see, I wouldn't be shocked to see the cash game pairing be Robbie Ray and Sean Burke. It's definitely Robbie Ray, and then it's one of Parker Messick, Shane Baz, and Burke is kind of the second guy. Like I said, those 4 guys headline the pitching pool. Arguably, if you really wanted to go in, you could just play those 4 guys and say, hey, I'm playing these 4 guys. I'll let other people kind of overcomplicate pitching. There's downside to really everyone on the slate, like I talked about. So talk about this lower tier. Hit on Robbie Ray, hit on Sean Burke. Those 2 guys look really good. Overall, I never liked playing Robbie Ray into ownership, but on this slate against the A's, who are strikeout happy at home in the Bay Area, I think it's pretty interesting there. Couple guys I think are going to fly a little under the radar that I might have a little interest in. Number 1, J.R. Ritchie at 6,700. Don't think many people click that. I like the Atlanta bats on that. I streamline pitchers against this Padres offense all the time. I just don't think they're a good offense by any means. There's a lot of strikeouts there, so I don't think J.R. Ritchie's the best pitcher in the world, but he's $6,700 in a direct pivot right off of Sean Burke for $300 less, so I like that. And then Kyle Leahy sandwiched between Burke and Robbie Ray, 7,500. He has shown us the ceiling on this slate. The D-backs have been pretty atrocious at times, and I think at 7,500, if you really wanted to plug your nose and play a guy that's going to get no ownership that could kind of go out there and skate his way to a quality start, I don't think that's. But really, Burke, Ritchie, and Robbie Ray are kind of the headlines down here. Talk to me in the lower range.
Yeah, Nate, it's not really pretty. I mean, we're just kind of looking for upside, I think. Like, we're not, there isn't anything that we kind of like. We're just kind of looking for upside because none of the pitching is really that great. I mean, the case with J.R. Ritchie, I agree with you. I'd kind of leave him in the pool. I mean, I'm just kind of moving on up, but Ritchie's get a San Diego team that just hasn't been very good. So, I mean, I'm just kind of putting him in for outs, but Richie's just walk percentages have just been so bad. 12.5% to the left side, 13.5% to the right side. He's been getting barreled up by lefties, but I mean, they got Jackson Merrill and Gavin Sheets. I mean, then after that, I'm really not all that concerned about what they're going to be throwing at Ritchie. So just because of the matchup, I think you could leave him in, especially at his price, 6,700. I think you can stomach that, and hopefully, he can get you 15 to 20 points, and I think you'd be happy with that. Now, Burke, I think you got to leave Burke in because, I mean, the Indians' offense, like I said, I mean, they're going to be in the bottom of the list here today as far as team totals. So, I mean, I think it's like a 3.5. So, I think Burke's definitely in play today. I think he's a guy that we're going to want to look at. I mean, he's a favorite. The Indians, they got a lot of Ks. Manzardo, almost 34%. Hoskins, 30%. Sheeman, 31%. Arias, he's in there, is 42. I mean, this Khalil Watson, if he's in there at short, he's pretty high. I mean, they got 2 bats that really don't strike out, Bazana and Rocio, like they're really the only 2 bats. So I mean, with that 25% K percentage to the right side, 23% pretty much to the left side, I think Burke is definitely in play. And Nades, I hate to say it, I think Burke's my favorite pitcher here on the slate. I mean, picking on the Indians isn't a bad adventure, especially they got that low team total. So I like it all the way around. That's kind of why I was a little hesitant on Messick, paying up for Messick at 9,300 when I just don't feel like he's got any offensive support behind him. So, I mean, if for any reason Messick does throw a good game, I feel like Burke's going to probably keep up with him right there. If he gives up maybe 2 runs in the 6 innings or so, he's going to go and gets a handful of strikeouts on this slate. I'd be really happy with that. So I think Burke is definitely a guy that I'm interested in. Now, Robbie Ray, I think, is the wild card, as you mentioned. We don't really generally like to play Robbie Ray when he's chalky, but I mean, you're going to sit here. I mean, the Optos are going to like him. He had a pretty good game his last time out. He had almost 32 points, 8 Ks through 94 pitches. He's been in the mid 90s pretty much every time he's gone out tonight. I mean, we like the park. We're out there in San Francisco, so I don't mind that at all. We do have some Ks. Nick Kurtz is at a 35%, Soderstrom 27%, Thomas, Bolte, Max Muncy, they all have some Ks. So, I mean, Gilas just barely under the average. So, Robbie Ray's got an opportunity to put up a decent game for strikeouts here tonight. So I do like him, but like you said, it's just seems like we know Robbie Ray well enough. Nade's playing this game long enough. Like when Robbie Ray's chalk, it just doesn't. It seems like it kicks you in the balls. So it's almost kind of like you want to stay away from that. He does get the matchup against the A's. A's have been pretty good here in recent times, even though they play out there in that smaller park, but. I mean, I'd leave Robbie Ray in, but I wouldn't go overweight on him. I don't think. I think I'd rather play Sean Burke than Ray. So, like Lodolo, I'm not interested in. Senga, Savali, no thanks. I just can't go there. So, in reality, Nades, I mean, I'd only really like Messick. I'd leave him in there. I think Erod's a decent pivot. I think Baz is in play. You can leave Ray in there. I think Burke's my favorite. I think you can leave Richie as my low price guy. That's pretty much all I'd even think about playing on this slate.
Yeah, I do want to throw out one more. Just Brandon Sprout. The reason being is he's 6K, and he has strikeout ability if he can control his walks. But the issue is the Reds are just not a patient offense outside of 3 hitters: Stewart, Blade, Nathaniel Lowe. Obviously, those 3 hitters are very scary up at the top. But the back half, 25% team strikeout rate against right-handed pitching. You look at Brandon Sproat, he's actually better against lefties. He's going to see 4 lefties, 5 righties. If he can control his walks, where he's actually better against walks to the right side, where they don't take walks anyways from the Reds, I think Brandon Sproat at 6K could have a place on the slate. As bad as the pitching is, if he goes out there and gets you 12 fantasy points, which I think he easily can, 12 to 15, I think that's probably enough on the slate, because I see likelihood that a guy like Parker Messick could score that. And he's 9,300. I could see all of these guys up at the top tier. So Brandon Sproat would be the guy. He projects pretty solid for us over here at 6K. Nobody's going to go to him. We just saw what Brandon Woodruff did. Obviously, it's a much different pitcher in Brandon Woodruff, but Brandon Woodruff coming off an injury stint where he only struck out 6 minor leaguers and gave up 3 runs, just mowed this team down yesterday, right? So Brandon Sproat would be the other guy. But yeah, Sean Burke is my favorite overall starting pitcher on the slate, so I really like him. Not messing with Lodolo. So it's really Kyle Leahy, Robbie Ray, Burke, Richie Sproat down here, and I wouldn't be opposed to using 2 of these guys in this lower tier and giving you more salary for bats. It does feel a little weird leaving out a guy like Shane Baz, but pitching is really gross on the slate. And ideally, if you really wanted to consolidate things, I think you could consolidate down into Robbie Ray, Shane Baz, Sean Burke, and Parker Messick, and just kind of go in with those 4 guys and not mess with any of these other guys. Personally, I'm paying more attention to ownership because I see all of these guys very similar. So I'm going to let ownership as we lead up to lock. I'm playing 4 teams in that mega tournament, and really going to kind of see, because I don't see much separation, Gyiraszin. So I'm going to use ownership more as a crutch to lean on in my decision-making process, and more so start with the bats and start with my offensive spots. And then whatever kind of pitchers fit, that's where I'm going to go in. So I know we told you to play really all of these guys, and there's no clarity, but that's just the way the pitching slate kind of shakes up and how I see it. Any closing remarks from the pitchers here?
No, I mean, I think too, I mean, we're going to like all kinds of offense. So I'll be honest, I wouldn't be overly concerned about, being too chalky at pitcher. There's so many offenses here tonight that I don't feel like it's going to be spread out with the offenses. So I just don't feel like, we're looking at a, Red Sox team with the highest team total, and I don't even really have them close to my top 5 today. I got 4 or 5 other teams I like better, Nate. So I think there's plenty of offense that we're going to be able to have tonight. So, like I said, man, just avoid the landmines tonight. It sucks on DK. You got to pick two. But, I don't even think if one of your pitchers gets beat that you can't cash in the tournament tonight, because I think there's going to be a handful of pitchers that are going to get beat tonight. So interesting kind of slate. But, yeah, it's tough. Pitching's tough tonight.
Yeah, definitely tough. That's why I'm going to start more with the bats. But Shane Baz, Sean Burke are definitely my 2 clear-cut favorites. Robbie Ray, I think, is in a pretty damn good spot too, but he is going to be super, super popular because of his K-prop. He's 5.5, minus 152 in the over. He's pitching at home. A's strike out a shit ton against left-handed pitching, especially on the road. So I get the reasonings there for Robbie Ray. And if you just don't play Boston bats, which I don't like Boston either, you really don't have to worry about ownership, because Boston is definitely the clear-cut favorite for projections for everything. We nailed it yesterday. They get a better spot here today than they did yesterday, but it's still Boston Red Sox. And just because you go to Coors Field doesn't make you better hitters in general. So we'll talk about that when we get there. First game on the docket here tonight is going to be Mets and the Cubs. The matchup that was slated for yesterday that got rained out and postponed is back in our lives here. Not a great place to hit overall in this ballpark here. You do have some wind blowing in here. Temperatures kind of in the low 70s, upper 60s. So not super hitter friendly, but outside of maybe one spot on this slate, 2 spots on this slate in Coors Field, it's kind of the theme. Kodai Senga has been absolutely miserable. I think the Cubs have a spot on the slate. Just like I said yesterday, nobody's going to play PCA. Nobody's going to play this Cubs offense in general. Mets do have a good bullpen. Like I talked about yesterday, rinse and repeat. I do think the Cubs are fairly interesting. And then we talked about how bad Edward Cabrera is. I do think he picks up ownership just because of the name recognition, the projection, and his salary on the slate where pitching is weak. The Mets are pretty interesting as well. Juan Soto, Jared Young's been really good. Ewing's been really good. You got Carson Benj as well, the rookie up there. I think the Mets are kind of intriguing as well. So I don't mind offense in this one. I don't have it on top of my list, Gyiraszin, but both of these teams do kind of have my interest at least a little bit in terms of lower owned spots with some upside, mainly more so on the Cubs side for me, just attacking Kodai Senga.
Yeah, Nate, I agree with you on the Cubs. The Cubs ain't going to get any ownership. I'm going to call them one of my lower owned teams. Senga has been really bad. He's given up 20 earned runs in his last 12 innings. He's been getting his butt kicked here in recent times. So, the Cubs are one of the top 4 hitting teams in baseball in the last 2 weeks, too, as far as OPS goes. So, I'm going to leave the Cubbies on there. You're right. The Mets bullpen isn't bad, but, Senga's been getting barreled up by righties at almost an 18% clip. That's not good at all. Woba 431 to the left side, 391 to the right side. He's getting fly balls, 32%, 35%. This is totally a guy we want to be going after. Now, the problem is, how long is he going to last? He went 4 innings, 2 innings, 3 innings, 2 innings. We'll be lucky to get through the lineup twice, get to see this guy twice. So, and then we're going to get that bullpen. That's why I'd bump it down a little bit. Nades, I just am concerned about that because Senga hasn't been lasting very long at all. I don't even think, 80 pitches, 50, 65, 72. He's not getting through, any of these starts. So I would be concerned about that. But the matchup against Senga is pretty good. It is weather concerning too. But they won't go out 3 days in a row, Nades, I don't think. Do you?
No, I think this game's going to play for sure. And he does have a 14.5 out prop. So they're kind of picturing 15 innings or 15 innings. Yeah, that'd be something pretty crazy there. They're pitcher in 5 innings. So if we get 5 innings at Kodai Senga, I mean, I think the Cubs have a spot on the slate. But yeah, definitely not the best spot by any means. And then more so minis in one-offs, just value guys. Jared Young's cheap. Like I said, Ewing, Benj, those guys are cheap. They have some speed. Cabrera has not been good. So yeah, I have a little more interest than it sounds like you do in the Mets. But both these teams fit kind of the low-owned stacks that nobody's going to. And we saw what happened yesterday on a slate where it felt like the Brewers, the Dodgers, the Cardinals were in can't-miss spots, and combined, they scored, 7 runs combined between the three of them. So that just shows you it's baseball at the end of the day. Takes us to the next spot here, Nick Lodolo, Brandon Sproat on the mound. This looks like a really, obviously, great spot for offense. We like this ballpark. We have some wind blowing out here tonight, nothing crazy, but any little boost in an already favorable hitting ballpark, one of the best in baseball. Temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. Points to a pretty good spot to target for offense. I'm right back on the well. Brewers let me down yesterday. I'm back in on them. They will run. The Reds bullpen is absolutely atrocious. Nick Lodolo doesn't strike anybody out. Balls are going to be in play. He gives a shit ton of power and fly balls to the right side. Brewers have their lefty mashers in there, Vaughn, Churio. Blake Perkins is a little bit of a pinch hit concern, but he's a switch hitter, so he should be in there pretty much the whole duration of the game. He's cheap. William Contreras is starting to hit. I think he's interesting. And then Joey Ortiz, Cooper Pratt, you have 2 cheap righties in there as well at the back half of this lineup, 2,700, 2,200. They're not power guys, but they will steal bases as well. One of those guys probably turns into a David Hamilton later on in this game. But again, full nine stack for me. Love the Brewers again here tonight. And I think they're going to be a fraction of the ownership of teams like potentially the Dodgers, but for sure Coors Field. And give me this spot. And on the same side, Reds also have my interest. Elliot De La Cruz back in this lineup, which is a big, big bump for the lineup in general. Think he's really good. Blake Dunn's been on a tear. Bladay's been great all season. You got Nathaniel Lowe as a cheap lefty to attack. Brandon Sproat in there. I like the side on both sides for offense, but I definitely have the Brewers higher. And don't let me down again to make me sound like a donkey 2 days in a row. But talk to me here, Gyiraszin. What do you see in this one? Great American Ballpark.
I'll tell you, I like both sides, really. I mean, I like the Brewers more. I mean, they may surprise people a lot of times. I'll give you a little resistance when we talk about the Brewers. But I mean, I always say it. I just don't like the Brewers against a ground ball pitcher. And I generally don't like him against a lefty either. But I mean, we got Lodolo, who has just not been very good at keeping the ball on the ground. His fly ball percentage at 32% to the right side. I mean, it's not as high to the left side. He's at 18%, but he's going to see a bunch of righties other than Terang and Bauer. So definitely like that. The righty's been barreling this guy up at over 11%. You mentioned how bad the bullpen is. I mean, I like both these teams. They steal bases. They're in the Great American Ballpark. We got a couple fly ball pitchers. So, I mean, I definitely think this one's in play. When you go over to the Reds, as you mentioned, against Sproat, getting Ellie back is definitely going to help them out a little bit. Sproat's been getting beat up here by righties. I mean, he's at 11% barrel percentage. His WOBA at 350 to both sides of the plate, kind of a mid-ground ball lean, but he's been giving up fly balls. So, and we know Sproat has a hard time getting the ball over the plate, the lefties. So, I could see Ellie getting on, stealing a bag, Blade behind him. I mean, this game here could turn into a softball game where they're trying to manufacture runs really quick. We got some good hitting weather. I mean, over the years, Nades, if you were to ask me, like, give me 2 teams and, playing, like, would you stack them up, outside like a Coors Field that we know? But I would have told you when the Brewers go to Cincinnati, it just usually seems like there's fireworks. Now, last night, they only got like 5 hits. So, tonight's going to be one of them firework type games. So I think this is definitely in play for a game stack. But I really do like the Brewers. I'll put the Brewers up there in my top of my pile of my teams here today.
Yeah, you can run a little bit on Lodolo too. He's given up 7 stolen bases on the year. Obviously, a lefty is not great to steal against, but the Brewers will steal at any chance they get. And same thing on the Reds front. I don't know. Let me just see Brandon Sproat real quick. I know Contreras, if Contreras is behind the dish, that's going to hold the stolen base upside in check for the Reds in general. But Brandon Sproat's given up 6 stolen bases on the year as well. So, yeah, definitely above average running matchup here on both sides. And we like the park. We don't love attacking the Brewers bullpen, but they did have to go to the bullpen. Or Aaron Ashby did come out of the pen yesterday. He threw 17 pitches. That dude feels like he could throw every day, so he's probably still available. And then they're rested on the back half, McGill, Uribe. So it is a good bullpen, which does downgrade the Red stack in general, but you're more so attacking Brandon Sproat, who could walk his way right out of the game by his own right. So, yeah, neither of these pitchers rank well for us. Offense, good implied run totals, great offensive park for offense. Reds bullpen really bad as well. So, yeah, everything checks out for me. I'm with you there. Next spot on the slate here, Guardians and the White Sox. White Sox been one of the best hitting teams in baseball against left-handed pitching and right-handed pitching for that matter. Parker Messick going to be one of the highest owned pitchers on the slate. Just due to the nature of the slate, I think Messick's in play, but I wouldn't fault anyone for some leverage here with some White Sox, just because, I mean, they're 5th in weighted WOBA, 4th in OPS, 1st in ISO over the course of the year. They have guys who can hit lefties pretty well. Vargas stands out. Grichuk's probably probably going to see 2 at bats, I would say, unless Messick, is rolling. Don't love him as a full stack, but I think in chalkier teams where maybe you go like a Shane Baz, right, and you go a Sean Burke, you're not playing the kind of expensive, chalky guy at the top tier who has upside. Maybe you pick off some of these guys. Vargas's price is coming down. You got Braden Montgomery, who's shown some power. He's a switch hitter, pinch hit concern free. Junior Perez is 2,100. Probably a pinch hit risk guy, but he's got a shit ton of power for 2,100. Basically stone minimum. Well, talk to me in this one. How do you see this game? It's White Sox or pass for me in terms of the offense. Don't really like the Guardians outside of Travis Bazzana. I'll say that just because he's red hot at the plate right now, and Burke's going to be one of the highest owned pitchers as well. Talk to me.
Yeah, it's hard for me to like either side of this one, to be honest. I mean, I'm not interested in playing any of the Indians against Burke. I'd rather have Burke in this one. And then on the other side with the White Sox, I mean, there's way better options here today for me to try to push this one. So I'll just leave this one be. And we got a few other games here that we're going to get to, I think is definitely in line for some pretty good offense.
Yeah, takes us to this game, Dodgers versus Kendry Rojas, who it's going to be a bullpen game basically for the Twins, which I don't love targeting. If this game does play, I do think the Dodgers are really interesting on this slate. They're going to be kind of the same ownership as the Brewers, which is going to be a fraction of that of the Red Sox, and even probably Baltimore for that matter when we get there. I think the Dodgers, if this game plays, is pretty interesting because Gyiraszin, we normally don't like targeting bullpen games. It's different when it's the Twins bullpen. It's the 3rd worst bullpen in baseball, and they're pretty taxed at that, 35, 32, 27, 3 of their guys in there. Dodgers, we know, best offense in baseball, at least on paper. They didn't show it last night. Dalton Rushing, I don't know if he's going to be in there. Kyle Tucker left the game yesterday as well, injured. So going to have to see what this lineup looks like here for the Dodgers. If this game does play, I think it's interesting. It does have a pretty high likelihood that it probably doesn't play. So talk to me. How do you see this one, Twins and the Dodgers?
Yeah, I mean, Rojas coming in. Joe Ryan, I don't know what he did. He get drunk last night, Nades? He's out there getting hammered with his boys from L.A. coming in. But one thing we got to remember, too, with like the PPD, I mean, this is the Dodgers coming into Minnesota. It's not like they're going to go back there again. They do have a late game tomorrow. They could squeeze in a doubleheader in the daytime tomorrow if they really had to. But usually in situations like this is when they, they'll wait later. Like they'll wait till maybe start the game at 9:30 tonight or something like that. And generally they won't do that. So I think that is interesting. Dodgers definitely would be in play against Rojas. I mean, from what I'm seeing, the kid's got a good arm. I mean, he's had a hard time getting the ball over the plate. A lot of times he's been getting barreled up by righties. So I think that bullpen, as you mentioned, especially the beginning and middle part of that bullpen for the Twins isn't very good. So, yeah, I think the Dodgers are definitely a top stack. You're just going to have to watch the offense. And you know what? If it gets, delayed, like you're getting a discount automatically on the Dodgers offense tonight. So I definitely think they could definitely nuke the slate here tonight against that just terrible Minnesota Twins bullpen. So, yeah, I think the Dodgers are in play. I'd have the Dodgers up there pretty high up on my list here tonight.
Yeah, it just helped his lineup a lot too, getting Tommy Edman back, right? Switch hitter there. He's 3,600 at a second base, third base, weak position. Mookie, right? You like yourself some Mookie. He's finally starting. He's not back to old Mookie, but he's starting to hit better. Freeman hit a bomb last night. Ohtani led off the game again yesterday with a bomb. Pages murders. He's got a ton of power. You got a stone minimum, Chucky Robinson, if you want to play his shitty ass down there, but he's 2K at a catcher position that you can wrap it around. Freeland, super cheap again. Alex Call. And I think majority of these guys are probably pinch hit free or pinch hit risk is pretty low, is lowered more so than it would be with Kyle Tucker leaving the game yesterday, Dalton Rushing leaving the game yesterday. I think there was one more as well that left the game. And then obviously Tio Hernandez is on the shelf too. So I think you're probably pretty safe for full 9 innings. If this game does play, it would be more of a full stack or bust for me if you're taking on that risk. I don't know if I'm going to take on the risk yet in one of my 4 teams in that main tournament. But I do think the Dodgers, you're going to get suppressed ownership on the best offense in baseball against a bullpen game from the Twins, which, yeah, can play matchups, but it doesn't matter, like I said, when the bullpen is not good by any means. They're going to see below average pitching for 9 innings in this one. Next spot, D-backs, Cardinals. Kyle Leahy thought he was an all right option if you needed to close your eyes, just because pitching is just atrocious on this slate outside of a couple guys. Erod, we talked about as a pivot up in the top tier. Cardinals been really good outside of last night in terms of their run production and offense. You got cheap guys at the back, Blaze Jordan, Lars Nootbaar. Mason Wynn's been actually really solid, 3,200 for him. You got Jose Furman in this lineup, probably going to be a pinch hit guy in the heart, but he's hit 5th for 2,500. Play him at third base. Talk to me, Cardinals and the D-backs. Any interest in this one?
I think I'd have more interest in the D-back side, just because you look at Leahy. I mean, he's given up a 395 WOBA to the left side. He's got a 13% barrel percentage to the left side. So, I mean, Marte, Perdomo, Corbin Carroll. I think Pavin Smith might end up being a pinch hit risk, but I don't mind him at all either. So, I mean, I do like the top part of the lineup for the D-backs. I mean, I don't have them, top 5 or nothing, but I think they're definitely in play today. I think they could get the job done. You get, the extra at bat there. I don't mind it at all. As far as the cards go, picking on Erod, picking on Erod. I mean, obviously you're going to want some good righties. I think Jordan Walker's in play. Velasquez would be in play if you want to look at that route. But, Erod's been walking a lot of the righties to the right side. Woba's at 314, which, isn't god awful, but it isn't good either. But, I think there's just a different night for the cards. I just don't really like picking on Erod. But I think the lefties for the D-backs are definitely in play for me.
Yeah, you'd want the righty. So Ivan Herrera comes to the top of my list. Nelson Velasquez, who hits lefties very good historically. New addition here for this Cardinals offense, kind of a platoon guy. So I like that 2-3-4 stack, that Herrera, Velasquez, Walker, all hit lefties really good. Outside of Velasquez, don't really strike out. They put the ball in play. They have hit for a shit ton of power against lefties over the last month. So those 3 guys in particular, I think, are interesting. And then Blaze Jordan as well has a lot of power against left-handed pitching in his limited sample. So I do think I much prefer the Cardinals side personally myself than the D-backs. I don't like the D-backs outside of 1 or 2 guys. Moreno, Corbin Carroll are kind of the 2 main guys there. The rest of this team, 130 ISO. They don't strike out, but they just don't hit for power. It's not a great stadium as well for offense. So yeah, Cardinals are pass for me, but I get the reasonings on both sides. Leahy's not an ace by any means, and at the current state, I don't think Erod's that great of an arm. And righties really get to him for the most part there. Barrels, hard hits, power. So yeah, I think it's pretty interesting for some of those Cardinals, more so as a mini stack than kind of a full 5-man. Let's get to it. Let's talk about Coors Field here. I faded this game yesterday. It worked out pretty well. Probably going to do more of the same here. I just don't love this Red Sox offense. I haven't really played them all year, and I really don't want to play them when they're going to be twice as owned of anyone else on the slate when there's other good spots on the slate, like Great American Small Park. We're going to talk about the game, the next game in Anaheim as well, which I like a lot more. Red Sox do have a better matchup than they did yesterday, facing Sean Sullivan, our guy in the chat. He throws beach balls up there. Talk to me. How do you see this game? You're not going to get sneaky really any which way you kind of shake it out with Boston here. I don't know. I don't love it. I'm probably going to take a fade approach again, especially in my main lineups in that big large field contest, because it is 100 max, and I know people are going to kind of have every which way covered in this game because a lot of people just play Coors no matter when and who it is on the slate. They just play it. Talk to me in this one. How do you see it?
Yeah, I'm with you. It's hard for me to play any Red Sox. I just haven't been playing them all year. Then they're going to show up in Coors, and they threw up a dud yesterday, as you said. So really not all that interested. It's tough. I don't even really want to pick off any kind of one-offs. Wilson Contreras by far is the best play for the Red Sox. He's sitting at a 437 WOBA against lefties, and that definitely is in play and something I'd want to look at. But the rest of the team, I'm just not all that thrilled about. So gonna leave that be. And the Rockies here recent times just haven't been hitting. You got Sonny Gray on the other side. He gets beat up a little bit more by lefties. Maybe somebody like Mickey Moniak, who probably be sitting in that 2-hole, I think is interesting. But I'm out on the Rockies. I'm going to be out on the Red Sox. I think the Red Sox for me aren't even in my top 5 today, and they have the highest team total. Nate, I'm not interested. I'm not going. If it beats me, it beats me. That's just the way I feel about it.
Yeah, when the Opto is spitting out 97% Boston stacks, I don't think I don't think that's that's the hill I want to go down on. Personally, myself, Sullivan's not going to throw super long anyways, and then you're not a good bullpen, but you're still playing matchups. So guys like Monasterio is probably going to get pinch hit for. Eaton's going to get pinch hit for if he makes the start. It's just I don't know. I don't love it. If I had to pick a side, it'd definitely be more so on the Rockies. Rumfield, Jake McCarthy. We got our guy Mickey Moniak back in the lineup finally, which does help the punch here. He was really, really good at the start of the year, went on the IL, and now he's back in that lineup. Troy Johnston, Willie Castro. So you do have lefties, and you look at the Rockies, they have way more power against right-handed pitching in this over this last month, right? 215 ISO as a team, 20% K rate. Sonny Gray just doesn't really strike many people out anymore at his current state. He's susceptible to lefties. So I think you can, if you're picking a side, give me the lower owned side in the Rockies if I'm going to it. But I'm going to be underweight on both sides here. McCarthy, Moniak, I think is a really good mini stack if you can afford it, 4,800, 5,200. And you should be able to because salary really doesn't mean too much on the slate because of how weak the pitching is overall. Next spot here. Orioles, Angels, Ryan Johnson on the mound, not good. Bad Angels bullpen behind him. Shane Baz, our favorite pitcher, or at least my favorite pitcher on the slate. Not a lot of Angels interest for me outside of just a straight close your eyes and hope for some leverage against one of the highest owned pitchers. I don't love it because you got a really good bullpen behind the Orioles as well. So Angels are pretty much a full cross-off for me, but Orioles do go up there as one of my favorite stacks on the slate in general. This park's going to play above average for hitting, which it always does, especially for home runs tonight. You got right around 10-mile-an-hour winds blowing straight out to center field. Temperatures right around 80 degrees. And you got full 9 at-bats against bad pitching. So sign me up for the Orioles. Gunnar Henderson looks like one of the better plays on the slate. Pete Alonso, Basayo, if he's in there. Colton Cowser at 2,700. Hopefully he makes a start. He's cheap. Tyler O'Neill would be the guy I don't like just because he's 2,500, and I think he's past his time in the major leagues. But the rest of this lineup, if Jackson Holiday makes it, 3,500 for him at a weak second base position, I think he's interesting. Talk to me. I love the O's here tonight. I think they're a really good stack, and I'd put the O's up against the Red Sox any day.
Yeah, I'd have the O's higher than the Red Sox. I actually put the O's up there with the Dodgers that I also like here today. So, I mean, they're definitely in play. I mean, the bullpen sucks. Johnson sucks. Johnson's been bad. I mean, he's at like a 9.5% K rate to righties. He is at 17% to lefties, but he's been walking 13% of the lefties. His WOBA is 422 to the left side, 443 to the right side. I mean, he's been getting barreled up at a little bit over 9% to both sides. I mean, you got guys, Alonso hits righties pretty well. I think he's in play. Taylor Ward even hits righties well. And then you got, Henderson, Basallo, I think, is in play. You mentioned Holiday. I think all these guys are in play. I think it's a pretty decent stack. You got a game total of 9. Orioles a $140 something favorite. Yeah, I mean, give me some Orioles. Like I said, I have them up there with like the Brewers and the Dodgers. I think those 3 would be my favorite stacks today.
Yeah, I'm with you too. And I mean, it's going to be more of a bullpen game because Johnson's going to go probably 2 1/3, 2 2/3, 3 innings max. He's been averaging right around 50, mid 50s, low 50s in terms of pitch count. So unless he's super, super efficient, you're looking at 3 innings. And Brent Suter did throw 35 pitches yesterday and 20 on Sunday, which is a lefty out of that pen. He's going to be unavailable. I'd be shocked if he's available. Kirby Yates, a 39-year-old, still trotting out there. He's pitched in 3 of the last 4 days. I don't know if he's going to go. So you do have Natera, who's a lefty out of there, which likely comes in because he hasn't thrown in 2 days. So that does give some pitch hit risk to guys like Jackson Holiday, probably Colton Cowser, maybe Basallo. But yeah, I have the Orioles up there next to the Brewers and the Dodgers as well with you. Is kind of the main teams I'm going in on. I do have 2 other fairly interesting stacks as well that I have some interest in the next 2 games here, just because of the slate at hand. We get the Braves, one of the best offenses in baseball this year, getting Herman Marquez coming off the IL. I've streamlined guys. I don't know, Gyiraszin, the last 3 years we've been doing baseball shows together. I've streamlined opposing offenses against this guy every single time. I don't care if it's in San Diego. I know San Diego has a good bullpen as well, but when you got a guy like this trotting out there making starts for you, you can look at these games as kind of maybe it's just a punt type of game, especially if the Braves jump out to a bigger lead. So you're not going to see Mason Miller, who just threw 20 pitches yesterday. He's at 41 pitches in the last 3. I doubt he's going to go here back to back. You got Morjan at 47 pitches in the last 3 days. Don't know if he's going to be available. You still have good other arms in there. I still think the Braves are super interesting here on the slate. Baldwin being back in this lineup helps him a ton. Michael Harris has been good. Olsen, Albies, and you can play the good guys. You don't have to mess with the back halves, the Austin Rileys of the world, the Eli Whites of the world, the Yastrzemskis of the world, because nobody's going to play this offense anyway. So it's a straight, you can play the top guys at the top and play it that way. J.R. Ritchie, I had some interest in down low. Don't play the Padres really ever. Not going to mess with it in this matchup either, especially with the Braves bullpen behind them as well. Talk to me here. Any Braves offense interest for you against Herman Marquez? It's more a bet on a good offense against the terrible starting pitcher.
Yeah, Marquez sucks balls. So definitely like going after him, as you said. We have chased after this guy for the last few years. I mean, you could even look and say, oh, well, maybe he was a little bit hurt when he started out. I mean, he's only gone, 6 starts? His last one was awful. It was beginning of May. So he's been out almost 2 months. So he's been on the shelf. So I mean, you can even look at last year. I mean, he got smacked around big time by lefties. He had a 393 WOBA against lefties last year, a 12% barrel rate. So I mean, he's at a 416 WOBA and a 14% barrel rate so far this year against lefties. I mean, you're sitting looking at Baldwin, Olsen, Albies, Harris, all there in the top 5. I think all those guys are in play. And you got Dubon, who's been hitting the shit out of it. Now, you did mention that San Diego bullpen. They are pretty good. I looked just, for shits and giggles while you were talking to see what happened yesterday. It was a 1-0 game. They used 2 of the relievers for an inning. They both threw like 20, pretty close to 15 to 20 pitches. So I don't necessarily feel as if those guys, will be available today, but that bullpen is just really good. I was kind of hoping to see maybe 3 or 4 guys go through that game, got a little deeper in that pen. So I'm not I mean, they're fairly rested. Maybe one of those guys. I think one of them went 20. I think the other one went like 13 or 14, something like that. I don't remember. But Nate, so yeah, I mean, that bullpen is kind of scary. Who knows how long Herman will go? But I mean, the Braves, one of the best offenses. I really don't like the park either. But I mean, we normally don't pick on teams, go for teams out in San Diego or San Francisco for that matter. But yeah, I mean, I think this one's in play. You can leave them in your pool and feel decent about it that they can get the job done.
Yeah, I just think Baldwin, Harris, Olsen, Albies can hit it on any stadium, and it doesn't really matter, right? So with that added in, and yeah, Mason Miller, like I said, probably unavailable, and Morjan, yeah, they still have good pitchers at the back half, like you talked about, but those top two arms are probably unavailable. Like I said, 41 and 47 pitches in the last 3 days, and they threw yesterday, right? As well. So yeah, I definitely have the Braves up there as a contrarian stack. I kind of put them and the Cubs in kind of the same boat. Looking at it when you kind of put it in retrospect to the slate of kind of ranking these teams, I kind of put the Braves and the Cubs as two of the offenses that, yeah, not great hitting parks, but it's more of the matchup against the opposing starting pitcher with some upside, and you don't have to go crazy with the shitty guys at the back half. Last game on the slate, Giants and the Athletics. Robbie Ray going to be the most popular pitcher on the slate. He's a lefty. Anytime Robbie Ray's chalk, it always feels kind of gross. Issue with the A's is not only the ballpark, I mean, it's just the prices. I mean, Geloff at $5K, Kurtz, Langeliers. I mean, if I'm picking one, it'd be Shea Langeliers, but he's $5,800. I mean, and he's got to outscore guys like William Contreras, and Gary Sanchez in much better matchups and parks for much cheaper, right? So pay up to be contrarian and just leverage the highest owned pitcher on the slate. I don't love the A's in this one at all, really. If I were to pick a side, it'd be the Giants, just because I don't think Aaron Savali is any good at baseball anymore, especially throwing the rock. Giants actually been hitting over the last month, which is shocking to say. They don't strike out. Savali's been pretty atrocious to both sides of the plate. Definitely lefties for sure. So Devers, Bryce Eldridge, Drew Gilbert. You got some cheap guys in there. It does suck. You have to make the decision between Eldridge and Devers, 3,300, 3,800. I think the Giants are fairly interesting on this slate, as kind of in that same category as the Braves and the Cubs for me, is a lower owned stack with upside, and you got a bad A's bullpen behind a bad starting pitcher as well. I know the ballpark sucks, but again, I think it could be a pretty interesting spot here to round up the slate. Talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants, Savali's been so bad against lefties. I mean, you definitely got to consider that. Eldridge, Lee, Devers. We just don't like the park, right? Like, I mean, we don't like it. I think there's enough offense here on this slate where you don't really have to jam it. But I will say, when I'm looking at it all, I mean, I'd put the Giants, in the same kind of boat as, like you said, the Cubbies, or, I don't have them in my top five. I put them outside my top five. I think I'd rather play the Giants than the Red Sox, to be honest with you. So, I mean, that's where I'm at, playing the Giants in San Francisco instead of playing the Red Sox in Coors. I mean, yeah, that's where I'm at. So, yeah, I mean, it kind of sounds funny, but that's the truth of it. So, I mean, that's basically it. So, yeah, I mean, interesting slate we got, that's for sure. I mean, 9 games. I mean, usually we got 12 games. We would have 3 more nades going on. We're already at like 5 o'clock. We had a lot of fun talking about, our cats fighting and all that shit at the beginning of the show. But, I mean, yeah, good times here. I mean, I love a little Tuesday baseball. Usually the pots are bigger on Tuesday too. So let's get us some winners here. But I feel pretty good about what we've been talking about here tonight. So, yeah, I mean, man, I'm really leaning toward that Milwaukee-Cincinnati game stack, man. I think that is, if I'm playing 3 teams on FanDuel, I'm telling you, one of them is going to be Milwaukee-Cincinnati game stack.
Yeah, that does look really good for me. Rounds us out to the end of the show here. Gyiraszin, your favorite pitching combination. You got to plug your nose and pick 2 with the DraftKings focus here. Your top 3 stacks and a home run call for the people.
I think I'm going to go Burke, Baz, Erod, and I'll probably go Richie. I mean, it's bad. It is really bad. I just like Richie because he's cheap. Stacks. I'm going to go Dodgers, Baltimore, Milwaukee, I think are my favorites. My home run, I'm going to go with Pete Alonso. I think is going to hit a home run.
All right, Pete Alonso, I like that. I will go with Shane Baz and Sean Burke as kind of my two favorites there. It is my favorite combination. Brewers, number one for me. Dodgers, number two. And then, Baltimore, number two. Dodgers, three. And then a sneakier one for me with some upside is that Atlanta stack. Mainly top half it, and those in particular the lefties there. That top four I think is really interesting. My home run call, I'm going to go to the Cubs. I'm going to go to PCA against Kodai Senga, who can't seem to keep the ball on the ground. I think PCA keeps the hot streak rolling. I'm riding some PCA. And then I'm going to the Brewers. I'm going to Jackson Chourio. 2 expensive home run calls there. They're going to get some ownership, but PCA is going to be unowned. So I like those two guys to hit home run to pair with Pete Alonso. That's going to do it for everyone tuning in. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. It helps us out a ton. Good luck tonight in those contests. If it's not me taking home the $200K top prize on DraftKings, hopefully it's one of you in the chat or in the Discord. For Gyiraszin, I'm Nades. Good luck tonight. We're out of here. Peace.